Hello everyone, my name is Elijah. Welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. I love you. And today I'm going to be reading you guys a Wattpad I wrote about Mike Wheeler and Will Byers. And I just want to say, I know that Mike obviously isn't gay, and yes, he's dating Elle or whatever, but I think Will deserved so much better when it came to their friendship. And in my story, he got better. So, yeah. I also have two alternate endings to this story, and I'll put a timestamp somewhere in this video, whether it be the description or on the actual video. And one of the endings is bittersweet, and the other one is just super chaotic. And I'll do the chaotic one at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And if this video cuts a lot, it's because I'm kind of dyslexic, so you know, I mix up my words a lot of the time. So if this video has a whole bunch of jump cuts, it's because I most definitely messed up and I didn't want to reread it again. Yeah. It's the last day of junior year. Will is in his last period, excited about the summer and everything he hopes it will bring. He fantasizes about him and his best friend Mike, going on walks on the beach, movie dates, and having fun sleepovers. He's had a crush on Mike since the summer of 6th grade, but he never got the chance to express his feelings out of fear of rejection. Mike is super popular and all of the girls want him. He's tall, works out all the time, and he's a quarterback on the football team. Not to mention, he's actually a really nice guy. He's the full package. And Will, well, he's just the drama kid that no one really pays attention to. And although he's afraid of rejection, that's not the only thing stopping him from confessing his love to Mike. There's also Elle, Mike's snobby little girlfriend, head cheerleader and the school's most loved scholar. They've been dating for about a year now, so Will barely gets to hang out with Mike anymore. Will used to be best friends with Elle in the 7th grade. They met in Mr. Bradley's English class and automatically hit it off. Elle was a loner, just like him. She spoke broken English, she was shy, and she was the only person in school with a tattoo. The tattoo was the number 11 on the inside of her wrist. Nobody knew what it meant, but they all assumed it was for her name. Elle was a weird girl. Will always suspected that there was something off about her, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. They stayed close friends throughout middle school and some of high school. They had lots of movie dates, told each other gossip and secrets, and their parents even used to let them have sleepovers. Everything was going great until he introduced her to Mike. She knew Will was in love with Mike, but she still got close to him anyway and stole his heart. Mike knows Will doesn't like Elle, but Will never told him why. The bell rings. Will and his classmates urgently pick up their things in excitement. Summer. It's finally here, Will thinks to himself. This is the time I finally get to tell Mike how I really feel. Will follows the line of students headed towards the door and is the last one out. Have a nice summer, Will, the teacher waves as she's packing up. Thank you, you too, Mrs. Mayfield. Will turns up the hall and goes down the stairs headed to the boys' locker room. That's usually where he waits for Mike after school since he has a free period and chooses to use it working out or practicing his plays for football. Will makes it to the locker room and goes and sits on a bench right by Mike's locker. He puts his backpack on the floor and texts Mike telling him that he's there but gets no response. 10 minutes pass by and Will starts to get the feeling that he's not going to show. Just as Will is about to leave, there he is. Mike Wheeler, walking in through the back of the boys' locker room wearing nothing but a white towel wrapped around his waist. He flips his voluptuous black hair back and smiles at Will. You can still see the steam coming off of his body. His body is dripping wet, making his muscles look extra strong and oh my god. You can still see the steam coming off of his body. His body is dripping wet, making his muscles look extra strong as the dim sunlight reflects off of them. What's up, Will? Mike asked. You didn't get my messages? No, my phone is in my locker. Sorry. It's okay. Will looks away timidly. So, what are you doing this weekend? He asked Mike while looking back up at him with a slight smile and a sparkle in his eye. Me and Elle are planning on having a movie date at my house tonight, and we're actually going to Mexico with my family in a few weeks. Why? What's up? Will gets mad and uncomfortable at the thought of his best friend not wanting to make any plans with him. Oh, I was just thinking that me and you could hang out and maybe play some games, you know, like old times. Will pauses before he lets out another sentence. Why wouldn't you tell me about going out of town? Well, sorry, I didn't think I needed to run my plans by you before I made them. Mike rolls his eyes as he's putting his shirt and basketball shorts on and grabbing his things from his locker. You don't. I was just saying that it would be nice to know that I'm gonna be basically spending the summer by myself. You won't be. You have Dustin and Lucas. Yeah, but I'm not as close with them as I am with you. I was really excited to spend the summer with you. Well, I'm not sure what you want me to say. My parents already booked the flights in the hotel. Mike slams his locker and stares at Will, waiting for his response. Will is staring back at Mike with tears in his eyes. Whatever, man. I'm out of here. Will grabs his backpack from the floor and storms out of the locker room. Mike gathers his things and heads out a few moments later. Will makes it back to his house and storms up the stairs. Hey honey, how was school? His mom asks while sitting on the kitchen table playing newspaper games. It was fine, he replies while slamming his bedroom door behind him. He throws his backpack on the floor and reaches under his pillow for his diary. He grabs a nearby pen and writes, Dear Diary, today was supposed to be the day I told Mike how I felt about him. I even had a whole speech prepared. I'm such an idiot. I can't believe he's going to Mexico for the summer. And to make matters worse, he's going with Elle? I know I can't tell him the real reason I don't like her, but it still hurts. Will pauses as tears run from his face and fall onto the paper. He puts the diary on his chest and lays on his back, staring at the popcorn ceiling. After a few moments pass by, he realizes that nothing will change if he doesn't speak up. His feelings for Mike grow each day, and he can't imagine spending any more time with him pretending they aren't there. Will gets back up and starts writing again. No, I'm not going to sit around crying while the love of my life doesn't even know how much I really love them. I don't care if I break them up. What goes around, comes around, Elle. I said today was the day Mike finds out, so it will be. I hope our friendship doesn't change if he doesn't feel the same way, but I need to tell him. Wish me luck, diary. Love ya. Will kisses his diary and slips it back under his pillow. He goes in his restroom and rinses his face with water and fixes up his hair. You got this, he whispers in the mirror before taking off. Will rushes down the stairs and tells his mom he's going to be at Mike's for a bit. Be safe, hun, she says as he closes the door behind him. Mike only lives a few blocks down, so the walk is about 10 minutes from Will's house. It's 7:30 at night and Will knows Elle will be on her way soon. He walks energetically and fast. The only thing he could think about was what he was going to say to Mike. How would he say it? Will Mike feel the same way? If it does work out, what will everyone think? Elle and Mike were the only two people that Will trusted enough to come out to. His thoughts were racing and he didn't even know that he had already made it to the house. There he was, at the doorsteps of Mike Wheeler's house, debating if he should ring the doorbell or run away. Then in that brief moment of despair, he hit the doorbell. His heart beats out of his chest as he waits. After a few moments pass by, he hears footsteps coming to the door and almost faints at the fact that Mike is the one to open it. There he is, standing there with his perfectly set hair on the sides of his face, his rosy cheeks and black and white pajamas on. Will is too flustered to speak. Will? What are you doing here? I wasn't expecting you. Oh, can I come inside? Well, Elle is supposed to be here any minute now, so could you just tell me what's going on? Are you in any danger? No, it's nothing like that. Just, I had this whole speech planned, but now that I'm here, it's like my brain just can't come up with the words. Will, what is it? Mike cuts him off with a concerned look on his face. Mike, I love you. Yeah, I love you too. What is this? No, Mike, I love you. Will breaks down crying. I love the way that you light up a room the second that you walk in it. I love that you always defend kids who get bullied by your teammates. I love that you like nerdy games and you're not afraid of what people think of you. But most importantly, I love that no matter what, you've been there for me. You were there for me when I came out to you. You were there for my family when we were going through that paranormal activity in my house. You were there for me when I was having really vivid nightmares about that creature. No one believed me, but you did. I've been in love with you since the summer of 6th grade, Mike. Summer of 6th grade? But I've been dating Elle for a year now. How could I have been so oblivious? Wait, is that why you and Elle stopped being friends when we started dating? Yeah, I never told you because I didn't want to ruin our friendship. Wow, Will. Mike closes his door and sits on the doorsteps. Well, I'm sorry I never tried to reach out or make time for us or anything. I guess since you didn't really like my girlfriend, I tried my best to avoid you. Will sits next to Mike and lays his head on his shoulder. Mike puts his hand on Will's head, and they both look up at the stars. There's a pause before they speak again. So, Where does this leave us? Will says, looking back at Mike with a desperate stare. I'm not really sure. I love you too, but I'm kind of confused. This is a lot to put on me right now, you know? Yeah, I understand. It can be a lot to take in. Yeah. Mike turns to Will and stares into his eyes deeply. They're leaning in closer and closer. The moment is so intense. But before they can get anywhere, Elle walks up the driveway. Mike! What is this? What's going on? Are you cheating on me? Elle! No, it's not what it's looked like, babe. I swear. Will is just you. I'm the most dramatic writer by you. Elle rushes to Will and grabs him by the shirt. How dare you come to my boyfriend's house on our date night and try to get with him? How pathetic could you be? She lets his shirt go and starts to walk away. Elle, you can't talk to him like that. He didn't do anything wrong. Mike tries to gain control over the situation, but it backfires immediately. Oh, really? So Will didn't just tell you that he's been in love with you since the 5th grade? Elle turns to look at Will with fury and disgust. It was the summer of 6th grade, actually, Will corrects her. Wait, so you knew about it? How could you date me knowing that my best friend had a crush on me? Because I had a plan, babe. Who do you think made Joyce go crazy with all the flickering lights and manic episodes? Who do you think made Jonathan disappear? And who do you think gave Will those nightmares? Me. It was all me. Mike and Will are petrified and confused with the fact that someone in their life was causing so much harm. But how? How could Elle have made all of those things happen to Will if she was just a regular girl? Unless she wasn't a regular girl? Elle, how did you make all of those events happen? What are you? Elle goes to the steps and sits down. The boys follow. Guys, I never told anyone this, but I'm not a real girl. I was made in a terrible lab with a dozen other kids that scientists did tests on. I was the strongest and managed to make it out. The others weren't so lucky. Elle calms down and the mood instantly changes. Well, what happened to the others? Mike questions as he rubs Elle's back. They're all dead. She breaks down crying as she tries to explain. We were created for scientific research, but being there was absolute hell. They tortured us physically and mentally and pushed us to our absolute limit. And when we reached it, they pushed us more. So when I escaped, I didn't know how to speak that well, and I needed to make a new identity. I knew they would never suspect me to be a high school cheerleader with amazing friends and amazing grades and a super hot boyfriend in a big city. So I created this persona to keep the scientists from finding me. So if this was an act, then why would you purposely target me and Will? It was an act at first, but then I started hanging out with you both and I gained so much love for you guys. Especially you, Mike. You're everything I could have dreamed of and more. I started making Will's life a living hell because I couldn't risk him jeopardizing our relationship or him eventually blowing my cover. Not everything I did was out of spite. I'm just scared. And a little jealous. Elle, you know you could have just told me what was going on and I would have understood. I just wish things didn't happen this way. The group sits in silence as they try to process what's going on. A few minutes pass by and Elle finally speaks up. So, what's going to happen now, Mike? I don't know. I'm in love with you, Elle, but Will made me think about some things and I'm just really confused. I mean, I love the both of you, but if choosing means losing one of you guys, then I don't ever want to choose. I'm not going anywhere, regardless of your choice. Will smiles and stands up, indicating that he's leaving. Me neither. The choice is yours. Mike gets overwhelmed with his racing thoughts and just wants to end the night off how it was supposed to. Thanks, guys. Elle, do you still want to watch a movie? As Mike asks, Will starts walking away. Will! Elle calls out. Want to come inside with us? I can show you guys what other powers I have in store, Mike says eagerly. Come on, Will, it'll be so fun! Will starts walking back towards the house and meets them at the door. It's bittersweet, but it's not the end of the story with Mike. And he knows it. So, yeah, I'm a writer. Yeah. That was ending 1, you know. Everybody's like all sweet, they friends again. They don't know what's going on, but they're like going with the flow. And ending 2. Will, What are you doing here? I wasn't expecting you. Oh, can I come inside? Well, Elle is supposed to be here any minute now, so could you just tell me what's going on? Are you in any danger? No, it's nothing like that. Well, it's... Ugh. I had this whole speech planned up, but now that I'm here, it's like my brain just can't come up with the words. Will, what is it? Mike, I love you. Yeah, I love you too. What is it? No, Mike, I love you. Will breaks down crying. I love the way that you light up a room the second you walk in it. I love that you always defend the kids who get bullied by your teammates. I love that you like nerdy games and you're not afraid of what people think of you. But most importantly, I love that no matter what, you've been there for me. You were there for me when I came out to you. You were there for my family. We were going through that paranormal activity in our house with all of the lights. And you were there for me when I was having really vivid nightmares about that creature. No one believed me, but you did. I've been in love with you since the 6th grade of summer, Mike. Mike closes the door behind him and runs down the steps into Will's arms. He grabs his face eagerly and kisses him on the lips. Will is in awe as his lips are finally touching the very thing he's been craving. Mike. His lips were so full and wet. Will couldn't get enough of it. Their hands starting to explore, leaving them craving each other. As they try to back up the stairs and into the house, that's when they heard a familiar voice.
Mike?
What is this? Elle screams in agony. How long has this been going on? Mike and Will quickly get off of each other and try to straighten their clothes, as if Elle didn't just see them kissing. Elle, I swear, it's not what it looks like. Mike tries to get closer to Elle, but she keeps stepping away. No. You lied. You told me that you loved me and that I was the only person you wanted. Elle, I do want you. I'm just confused right now. You lied. Friends don't lie. Elle lifts her hand up and Mike starts to float up in the air. And just as Will tries to run, she throws Mike into him. How could you? Elle says in a gentle voice, walking away from the driveway with tears forming in her eyes and blood dripping from her nose. After that day, Elle sent out a widespread text to everyone in school outing Will and Mike's encounter. Then, no one heard or seen from Elle again. Mike and Will spent the summer avoiding friends and trying their best not to think of all the trouble school will bring. They went on movie dates, hung out at the beach, and had game nights at Will's like old times. It was everything Will imagined and more. Mike's family even let him go on the Mexico trip with them. But when summer came to an end, Will and Mike started to worry. It's the first day of senior year, and Will isn't going in alone. He has Mike by his side to keep him calm and grounded. Surprisingly, everyone loved the idea of Mike and Will together. There were pride posters on the wall saying things like, "Be who you are." There were students greeting them in the hallways and even teachers being overly nice to them. Mike and Will weren't an official couple yet. They still had some things to figure out, but this definitely was a welcome they wouldn't forget. At lunch, they met up at their usual spot and sat down next to each other, putting their plates and backpacks down. Mike grabs his burger and signals Will to grab his. They lift their burgers and cheers. "Happy senior year," Mike says, smiling into Will's eyes. Happy senior year. And the end. In my opinion, I like both endings because I wrote it. But anyway, sorry it took so long for this video to come out. I know it's super random, but like, I just wanted to make it because there's so many Twitter threads talking about how Will deserved better, so I gave Will better. But anyways, if you guys like me, subscribe. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you love me, comment. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're still here, thank you for making it all the way through because there's so many videos on YouTube and you chose mine. As always, I will see you next time, and my next video is a vlog, bitch. We going to Pride, so yeah, stay tuned for that one. Bye.